Good evening, good afternoon, good night, and good morning. Thank you for tuning into RETV News Break. I'm Tyren.
And Nicole with your weekly RETV News Break with news, trends, and more with a positive spin. I'd like to share some stories about some black men magic. First up, Tyren Bailey, who has been working as a school janitor for 23 years, has graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in education. He is now ready to change careers and become a teacher. Just walking through these halls every day, you're surrounded by education. Each corner of this building, education. So why not be a part of that? Bailey told WSB-TV. For the past 23 years, Bailey has been working at Hightower Elementary School in DeKalb County, Georgia, as its head custodian. He cleans the rooms and fixes everything that breaks. He's the kind of person you want in your building, on your side, said Principal Sheila Price. It's a bittersweet moment because we love him and we want to keep him here, but we know this is a huge step and we support him. We're here for him for whatever he needs. In 2017, Bailey began to pursue his dream of becoming a teacher. He started attending Georgia State University while still working part-time from morning to afternoon. With great time management, he was able to hang in there for 4 years and graduate. Now he's looking forward to teaching soon and has already completed multiple job interviews. He has already been invited back to Hightower as a guest speaker at the school's upcoming 5th grade graduation ceremony. I thought that was quite inspiring to be able to transition from one career to the next, but actually be inspired by your next career based upon where you're currently working. So, kudos to Mr. Bailey, and I'm pretty sure that those, students who will be in his future classrooms will benefit greatly.
Yeah, that's definitely a dope story. And like you said, an inspiration to, definitely the kids in which he, will come in contact with on a regular basis, or has already come in contact with on a regular basis under, just being a janitor, to say, hey, I don't have to, or custodian, janitor, custodian. Anyway, yeah. Point is that he, will be an inspiration to the kids in which, he already has contact with in that current role, because then they can also see that, they don't have to just stop at, one career, that they can have a career doing one thing, but then eventually move on to doing something, greater or bigger later in life. They don't necessarily have to just be stuck where they, first land a job, for instance. So yeah, kudos to him and congratulations for his, on graduating and taking your career to the next level. I think that's pretty dope. In the next story, this is a little bit sports related, even though we're not doing sports, but this is a little bit sports related. I quote, "I am beyond proud of this man. Expect great things because that's what he does." That's what Nia Long wrote last year after her fiance, Ime Udoka, was announced as head coach of the Boston Celtics. It was a long time coming for the former NBA player, who took assistant coaching gigs with the San Antonio Spurs, Philadelphia 76ers, and Brooklyn Nets from 2012 to 2021, before being tapped as head coach in Beantown. Less than a year later, her beau is doing great things just as she said he would, taking the Celtics to the NBA Finals in his first year leading the storied team. With that being said, no one is happier than Long. After the team took home the Eastern Conference Championship trophy, she shared a video of herself cheering, doing a high kick in excitement. The clip quickly made the rounds around online. On Monday, she followed up that clip with a post that highlighted Udoka taking the Celtics to the finals in his first year. She captioned it, "Speechless, patience and purpose." But Long repping for her man is nothing new. Long, no pun intended, before he became head coach, she had been courtside with her sons, Masai and Kez, rooting for him from city to city. And once he finally got the chance to show what he could do in leadership role, she was there, in person and online, cheering him on as his biggest fan. "I am definitely his biggest cheerleader," she told Essence in October. "I am so happy for him. I am so proud of him. The boards are super happy and excited. I've watched the sacrifices he's made personally and sacrifices we've made as a family, and now it's go time. And I just know he's going to be great because he's so disciplined. I've never seen anyone so disciplined. Honestly, I've never met anyone so disciplined. He sets the target, and that's what it is. So that is where his success lies. And now he just has to do what he wants to do. Excuse me. And the greatest thing is when he's busy, I'm busy. When we come together, it's like we're in constant state of dating. And that keeps it fun. Check out nine times when she was his biggest cheerleader during the regular season and throughout these nail-biting playoffs. And game 1 of the NBA Finals tips off on this coming Thursday. Yeah.
Good deal. Now, although I don't like the Boston Celtics just because of their history, and 2, they did, upset and take Milwaukee out of the running. However, I did not know until this story that their head coach is African American.
Yeah, there's actually...
And this is his first year. So, from that perspective, congratulations, because I like to see us win.
Yeah, actually 56% of the NBA actually has African American black coach or African American coaches, male coaches. So there's quite, unlike the NFL, there's quite a few head coaches in the NBA that will, we can look at and see that people look like us. But I understand. I'm with you. I can't say that I'm a big Boston fan, nor am I a big Milwaukee fan. But I was actually rooting for Milwaukee over Boston. So when they actually lost to Boston, I was kind of like bummed. But at the same time, I was like, well, I can see, Boston, pretty much taking this thing all the way to the finals. I don't actually see them beating, Golden State. No, they beat the Heat. That's what makes them go to the finals. But I don't actually see them beating Golden State. But just to see that they do have an African American head coach from Boston, in my opinion, from what I've heard from a lot of players and a lot of other stories, that Boston is not one of the friendliest towns to be a player or an opponent in. For him to be able to take, Boston to the NBA Finals in his first year, that's pretty dope. And then secondly, I didn't even know him and Nia Long were together until this year. So that in itself was news to me. I didn't know who Nia Long was with. Not that I follow Nia Long like that, but didn't know who she was with. But then to find out she was actually dating or engaged to the head coach of the Boston Celtics, thought that was nice. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty dope and pretty nice. Yeah.
For my next story, an entire graduating class at an all-boys New Orleans high school was accepted to college and earned a combined $9.2 million in scholarship offers. At St. Augustine High School and located in New Orleans' 7th Ward, a private Catholic all-male college preparatory school for boys in grades 8 through 12. Founded in 1951, the school remains one of the leading educational institutes for black men in the state. There, the young men learn leadership principles while emphasizing the values of academic excellence, morals, responsibility, and discipline. This week, one of the mothers of the St. Augustine graduate, Twitter user K. Joe, took to the social media platform to share a clip of the class of 2022 as they celebrated graduation in full cap and gown alongside a second line band. Captioned under the clip were a few receipts for the graduating class. And I quote, "It's late, but I don't care. The world deserves to see this black boy joy. Congratulations to the St. Augustine High School class of 2022. 100% college acceptance, $9.2 million in scholarships straight out of the 7th Ward of New Orleans." The post sparked widespread praise for the boys, having been viewed already more than 300,000 times. Twitter users from all over took to social media to share their congratulations and joy around the accomplishment. Congratulations, gentlemen. Wishing you all the very best in your future endeavors.
Wow.
I thought, how many schools can actually say that 100% of their graduating class has been accepted into college and a collective $9.2 million in scholarships have been awarded?
That is a lot of money, and that is a lot of success coming out of one high school at one time. So that is super dope, and congratulations to the St. Augustine High School in New Orleans. That is, that's super dope, because you have people who struggle in high school. So, and it was funny because we were having a conversation, I was having a conversation with a neighbor the other day, and we were talking about how as African American men and African American young men, the perception you get on television, whether it's movies, whether it's the news, whether it's whatever it is that we as African American men aren't educated. We are not around. We're not doing positive things. And so to see that in this all boys, class of 2022, we're able to graduate all, together, and then like you said, had $9.2 million in scholarships for their next level of education. I think that is super dope, and we have to, continue to congratulate them, give them their kudos, give them their props, give their teachers, give the school their props as well for all that they have done to help these young men get to the next level of life, and continue to support them. Not just say, "Oh, great for you! You all got 9.2 in scholarships and you all graduate," but continue to highlight and show what they're doing, and continue to support them, and as they continue to grow into adulthood and become adults and live these wonderful lives that hopefully each and every one of them will live.
Yeah, I just really was, I guess the word is proud to see that in the theme of education, the first story about Tyren Bailey, and then now this story about the St. Augustine High School young men, I don't think we highlight enough of our African American men and what they're doing in the community. You hear a lot about African American women, whether that's more so now along the lines of small business owners. But when I read these two stories, I was like, yeah, we've got to get our black men some praise, because you all do go over and beyond, and I don't think it's highlighted enough. So I'm just thrilled and praying for each and every young man who has graduated, for their safety and the next, for their next life, especially given how much in the media we do hear of the unfortunate news as it relates to a lot of our black men.
And while you mentioned that, I definitely agree with what you're saying, and I think I kind of know why a lot of black men are not highlighted in the news and so forth, is because for so long women did not have a voice, and women were not being recognized or being put on the same level or given the opportunity even to be on the same level as men in general. So to your point, I definitely agree with you that as far as black men are concerned, we are not shown in such a positive light. And again, that's not to take away from anything that you all as women do, because you all are superheroes in your own rights. But like you mentioned, when you watch on the news or social media or whatever the case may be, there's one story after another of a black man being arrested or a black man, whatever the case may be, but not enough stories like you mentioned of, of the custodian who was able to, go from one level of his career to the next level of his career by furthering his education, or like you said, a whole class student body of African American males graduating from, an area which does not get the best publicity. New Orleans, if all of us have hear about the stories of this ward and that ward of, New Orleans.
Essence Festival and what's the other big?
They have the big Jazz Fest, they have Essence Festival, but I'm just talking about still in general, those are events that go on, but you hear, the stories of the different wards, or this ward or that ward, whether it was from Master P or Lil Wayne or any of the people who are actually from New Orleans say, hey, if you live in New Orleans, you come in as a visitor for those festivals, then you hear positive things about that. But for those who actually live in, you always see, I don't know if you've seen it, but the documentary about, I know you've seen it, the documentary of Master P. He said, it wasn't easy coming to be a success to, as an African-American male or as a black male to come out of whatever ward he's from. It wasn't easy for Lil Wayne and all the rest of them to be, they had to deal with, fighting and gangs and a lot of people that they knew and grew up with, their deaths and things, so on and so forth. So for these people to be able to come out and to be successes in their industry, entertainment, rapping or whatever, whatever it may be, is great. But now for you to highlight, a whole class of young men to come out of these, this environment, not in entertainment,
Right.
not specifically in sports, but in education, to say, hey, we graduated, at the top of our classes with 9.2 million in scholarships, because he didn't specify whether it was sports, but I'm going to assume that it's academic,
Or maybe a mix.
or maybe a mix, but regardless, that's a lot of money and a lot of success coming out of an area that does not get the attention that you would think that they recommend or should be getting.
Yeah.
So definitely kudos, definitely highlight, definitely spotlight to these African American men who are doing their thing. And again, continued success to you in all that you do. Yeah, for sure. And last but not least, in our final story for the day, another African American man or black man that's actually turned his life around to do something very positive. I'm excited to bring this story because we actually had an opportunity to watch his documentary, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. But Bobby Brown is a living legend. The Boston native has been dubbed the king of R&B and even the bad boy of R&B. But whichever way you spin it, life has always been his prerogative. From his rise to fame as an originating member of New Edition, arguably one of the best boy bands of all times, to his huge breakout success as a solo act, Brown has been able to stand the test of time, and he is still here to share his story with the world to hear. Afrotech caught up with both Brown and his wife Alicia Etheridge Brown ahead of the premiere of the biography Bobby Brown and Bobby Brown Every Little Step to discuss life for the superstar these days, his love for cooking, and what it's like running a business alongside his loved ones. Never one to shy away from speaking his truth, Bobby Brown has returned to the screen to share his story like it's never been told before. I quote, "I'm ready for fans to see a little more, well, a lot more about Bobby," said Brown in an exclusive interview with Afrotech. "I hate to talk about myself in the third person, but I really want them to see the ups and downs and how I got through them, because I think somebody out there can use some help with how they deal with life. So I really want them to see how I've been able to maintain and get through some of the ups and downs in my life." Alicia has had a front row seat watching Bobby Brown evolve and grow despite what seems like loss after loss over the years. What's more, she told Afrotech that she believes hearing his story from his mouth is something that the world needs during this time. "I'm super proud and excited that people will hear his story from his mouth. His own words about how it really was and has been for him through the years," she shared. "From a little boy and starting his career very early, being out there working, supporting his entire family, and always just maintaining and trying to keep balance in life. Often, when we're young, things occur and you have ups and downs in life. But again, I just love to see the growth and that people will experience that when they watch the biography. Not only is Brown the king of R&B, but his love for cooking has also made him a self-proclaimed king of the kitchen and quite a businessman. Following the premiere of biography Bobby Brown, the fans will get a first-hand glance at the Brown family as a family man and entrepreneur in this new series, Bobby Brown Every Little Step. We're so fortunate that he is multi-talented on the stage as well as in our kitchen," Alicia beamed. "Bobby is definitely a favorite of ours for being the chef whenever we have any kind of major events, family gatherings, anything you can think of. Everyone wants Bobby to cook. So I thought we should really package this up and get it out to the masses." Brown, who often spent a lot of time in the kitchen with his mother as a child whenever he was punished, quickly gained the love for cooking and the way it makes his family feel when he met with one of his delicious recipes. He continues to share that love with the world through his company, Bobby Brown Foods. Bobby's original barbecue sauce bottles up the kick of spice and flavor that the R&B legend brings to the kitchen table and provides the culture with natural ingredients that are health conscious. "I don't want to put it all on my shoulders or toot my own horn, but it was my wife who came up with the idea to bottle it and sell it. I was just the one in the kitchen trying to put all the spices in and bring things together, said Brown. She's the one that came up with the master plan to put it out to the masses. As someone who grappled with the aftermath of success since the age of 14, Brown's idea of life accomplishments looks a lot different at the age of 53. Success looks different. Success looks like healthy and happy, he shared. Just being this healthy and happy with ourselves and with the tight little unit we have, our kids and our family. Overall, as Brown continues to take it one step at a time, every little step is intentional, and his hope is to inspire others along the way. I hope that people learn to understand that you go through ups and downs in life, but it is just about how you deal with them, said Brown. I want people to really pay attention to the fact that I am still standing. I am still touring. I am still doing everything that I have done in the past as far as entertainment is concerned. I am moving on and pushing on as hard as I possibly can.
Wow. Kudos to him.
Definitely kudos to Bobby Brown. I know, as I mentioned, we had an opportunity to see his biography as well as the first episode of his show that came on the other night on A&E, I believe it was. And a lot of it I did know because we did have an opportunity to see the New Edition biography a couple of years ago. But then he actually shared some things that, we did not know, or specifically, I'll say I did not know about him, some personal things that I did not know. And to see him overcome what he was exposed to as a child, the things and positions that he even put himself in as a teenager and as an adult, to now, to the tragedy, I'll say definitely tragedy, that he experienced with the loss of, his ex-wife, 2 of his kids, pretty much you could almost say his career at one point in time, going to jail and prison and so forth, but to turn it around to, have a few more kids, to have a loving and supportive wife that's honestly, if you watch the series, has been there almost from day one in some capacity or another, to, like you said, still standing.
Yeah.
Still standing, still touring, still doing all the things that he loves to do, all the things that we know for him, known for him to do. It's great. It's excellent.
I have a newfound respect for him and compassion for him after seeing the biography. I'm really glad he put it out there because it really shows his worth. Not his worth, but his life in a 360 angle up until this point, and just to see how resilient and how intentional he's had to be in making things life better for himself. He is truly kind of the definition of pulling oneself up by the bootstraps and being hit from every turn, whether they were out of his control, especially as a child, but then as a result of what he experienced as a child, some of the decisions he made in his early teens as well as early adulthood, it's all a domino effect. And so I really have a newfound respect, compassion, empathy, and I just see him more in a positive light now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he is more in a positive light overall, dealing with all the things that he had to deal with, from, drug addiction to alcoholism and so forth, and to continue to fight to stay sober so that way he can continue to be that light, as you mentioned, not just for his fans and his fans, but also his family, and, especially consider the fact that he has little kids now.
Yeah.
So,
5 years old.
Exactly. I mean, you would think he has a 35-year-old as his oldest and a 5-year-old as his youngest. Like, geez, Bobby, what was you thinking, dude?
I'll leave that to you, my brother.
Exactly. But, and again, he mentions it in the interview, but he also gives support to his wife, or gives kudos to his wife, really who, like I said, has been there in some form, fashion, or another throughout his career, even prior to him being married to Whitney, as just a friend, and now his manager and his wife and his support and, all of the things that Alicia is to him in his life.
I love their dynamic.
Yeah, their dynamic is, don't get me wrong, I love the positive dynamic, let me state that he and Whitney had.
Yeah, their deep love for each other.
Exactly. I definitely love that.
Unmatched. attached.
But to see what she does for him as a man, as a father, as an entertainer, as all of those things, for him to be what he is now. Like, because if you think about it, for those who were, born in the 70s and 80s and even 90s, who got to see him, throughout the progression of his career, there are a lot of people who've gone through similar things who are not here anymore.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
That's true.
So for him to still be standing and still doing some of the things, it's not easy for him. If you've seen Bobby get out on stage and, kind of hit some of them moves with New Edition, he's it ain't
over 50.
Oh, don't get me wrong, there's some 53-year-olds and above that are still out there kicking, but
That's true.
I mean, it's understandable considering the fact of he has a lot going on, has had a lot going on. So yeah, it's just super dope just to see Bobby doing his thing. Yeah. And if you haven't had an opportunity to go out and check
watch it.
His biography, it's a 4-part series on A&E. I believe it's on demand. You can definitely go out and check out.
4-part or 2-part?
It's 4-part. It was 1 part, 2 parts on one night and 2 parts on the second night.
Okay.
So it's actually 4 parts. And then take a look. If you actually watched Being Bobby Brown, that used to come on some years ago with him and Whitney, definitely go check out his new series with him and his current wife and his current family, as you definitely get to see a different spin on Bobby Brown and the positive that he's actually dealing with or living in his life now. And he wears his apron with his cooking line, because I didn't even know Bobby could cook.
Neither did I, and we're going to have to see if we can find it and try it out, because I would love to try some of his barbecue sauces and seasonings.
Yeah, and just to support in general. So we'll definitely have to see where they're selling his barbecue sauces and his seasonings and see if we can be cooking like Bobby in the kitchen. We thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of RETV News Break.
Be sure to subscribe to the RETV YouTube channel and Facebook pages for more great news and shows.
Also, RETV is available on Roku. Download the RETV Roku channel today to watch this and many other entertaining and educational shows. We look forward to seeing you again next week right here on RETV. Until then, be blessed and be great.
Hey, it's your girl Tia Robertson. I'm the host of Entrepreneur Insider. Right here on RETV, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for entrepreneurs and news that you need to know about. See you there.
Welcome to What's Going On? My name is Demita Joe. Each Wednesday, you can find me here at 3 p.m. I'll be over here discussing different things that are going on and try to bring you a boost of positivity for your week, because we all need this. We're going to share some feel-good stories. We might find a hometown hero. We may take a look at some trending topic. And sometimes we might even find a lesson in a not-so-warm and fuzzy story if we can. I'm Demita Joe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode right here on What's Going On?
in to Millionaire Man Cave, only on Relationship Entertainment Television, Tuesdays at 8 p.m.